Hello everyone. Today is January the 23rd, 2024, and I have been working now for about a week on sorting a lifetime's accumulation of mostly vintage buttons, but just buttons of all kinds. And I had them here, there, everywhere in little drawers that I had done organizational systems with in the past. Recently, I got big bundles like a gallon Ziploc bag, quart Ziploc bags of bulk buttons from estate sales and antique shops. So I recently acquired this really large 52 by 85 Formica tabletop. And I had two dressers that I already had, that I had purchased at another estate sale with the intention of using it for some kind of sewing storage. So they each have 8 drawers, and it's a perfect solution for all the thread and things that you accumulate from being an almost 60-year-old lifelong sewist and quilter and crafter and what have you. So the dressers match, and the tabletop got delivered from my local antique store. It was a great price. It came out of an estate that was for a quilter, so it was designed and custom built for that. So it fits perfectly, and it's a great massive space for this kind of project where you can really sort by color, sort by, so what I first do is lights and darks, just I pour them all out like you would coins, and then I just do rough sorting, and then I sort by color, so blue, purple, green, gray, black, and I have black here, black there, but this is 2-hole. So if it has 2 holes, that's another subcategory versus 4 holes, and that just gives me more finite rough sorting to then pair things together. So this is kind of my little method that I've just come up with from just practical experience over the years. These are all the shanks. That's another whole subcategory. So a shank button has, you sew it on the back. There's not a hole that comes up through the front like a typical button. So all of this is shanks, and then I got metallic shanks. So I'm going to swing around here and just show real quickly just the color categories. Now this was when I had just what I thought was a large stash then of these vintage buttons that are still in the original cards. So you have the brand, you have the price, and it's just nostalgic. I don't know if I'm in the South here, so like I just found one. TG&Y probably went away in the 80s or 90s when Walmart's took over, but look, a TG&Y sticker for 9 cents for 2 metallic and crystal, not real, but it's all costume, but still pretty fancy, on the original card with the TG&Y sticker. I mean, how nostalgic is that? I love it. So getting back to this, so we have like the neutrals, grays, blacks, browns, whites, and then the metallics, and then I sort of go in rainbow order just because it makes logical sense to my brain. This I didn't have enough, and these are apothecary jars. I love them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of them. And I have in here reds, pinks, and oranges, plus what's in the jar. Yellows, greens, and then blues and purples. Obviously the yellows and the greens have their own jar because I had the most of those colors. But I'm in the process of micro-organizing this large, this is a barn dominium, which we built to house mainly our little class B plus RV. So I'm coming around here. This is the stairs to get up here. So I'm in an upstairs barn dominium, and my little RV is down here for the winter so that we don't have to worry about winterizing it, because we've already had a catastrophe with that a few years back. And so I sew and I long arm quilt, and I have all of my fabric rolled on comic book cards. I'll do another whole video on that another time, but you can see I had this whole empty shelf up here. I need for more storage space, believe it or not, for fabric. I have vintage fabric that I got at an estate sale for almost free, honestly, and I need to roll all that up, and I need this entire space up here for, so I had little totes, little mini totes such as this. Now this is not buttons, this is tools and pinking shears and hole punches, but I had this whole top thing was notions, snaps, all that, and then I had a whole 5-foot section with about 12 different shoe boxes like this of buttons. So I decided I'm just going to dedicate how long it takes to spread it out, sort it out. Now I had already done some years ago in these little cellophane bags, and these are, let's see what we got in this one, for example. Okay, so whatever had an exact pair, I just put tape around to keep them together. So these were all exact pairs, and then I put it into one bag and probably just said, okay, this is all browns and tans. So that's sort of the concept, but this is not exactly good visibility to see it and whatever. I'm trying to come up with something better. So in addition to the drawers of these dressers, I also have 3 of these units that all match. So I started already doing embroidery thread that I got at a estate sale. I know I'm a estate sale junkie. And I use embroidery thread for long arm quilting because I like the sheen of it. So this is all a set that I got for Christmas of Floriani. I think it was 120 spools. This was the box for it up here. So I needed all that space to have the full set together. And then here, I use the drawers. I'll put these in backwards for that. But I'm using, this is the drawers, and I have them lined in non-slip, like the rubberized shelf liner. Not adhesive, it just sits in there. And I'm going to put buttons, probably the large oversized ones, like a 1/2 inch or larger, into drawers like this. And then I'll label the drawers with the type, whether it's, you know, just button and then the color. If it's a shank, I'll put shank, and if it doesn't say shank, then I'll know it's a regular button. But back to this table, this has been so nice, and I did put a white linen tablecloth over it to keep them from rolling and sliding, and just to give it a little more stability, a little more visibility, because this dark green Formica on the tabletop here, it just had one little chip in it, which I just colored in with a green Sharpie. And it's fine. I mean, I'm so thankful to have this big, large tabletop. And it actually cantilevers over here so that when I put my tall bar stool type chair, it's a nice, well, it's an open bottom anyway, but even if I wanted to have a gathering or a meal up here, a banquet up here, because this is a nice open space. Beyond this wall, I have a little small bedroom, but I have these double French doors here. And at the last minute during construction, we threw up a little screen porch, which is just 10 feet by 10 feet, and put some outdoor furniture out here so that I could open these doors on a nice, like today's January, so we have a nice, you know, 58 degrees right now in the morning. And I keep the door open, and then I don't get bugs or birds flying in. And it's just nice. I have roosters and I have chickens. You may hear the roosters crow in a minute. But I have this little fenced-in area here where I race. Oh, there we go. They must have heard me. Good morning, boys and girls. So it's nice. It's nice. We just put a little rabbit ear antenna up here, and I plan on having some uprights attached to this wood railing with like a clothesline type of thing, where I can take my quilts when I'm done and photograph a nice quilt picture with a nice natural background. So that's my goals for that for this year. So we'll come back in. This is all my stabilizer. I do t-shirt quilts and all kinds of, this is anything fusible. I'm gonna go through that next. And then this is my shelving system for notions. This was all the totes that were up on this empty shelf up here. So gives you an idea of how I sort them, all my ironing gear and what have you. So that's a little sneak peek. And what I've done, I had these cheap cutting mats that I was trying out from the Dollar General, and they're okay. You know, they were really cheap, like a pack of 2 for I guess $1 or $2. I don't know, not everything at the Dollar General is $1 like Dollar Tree. But, you know, it's a what, 11 by 11. But the back, it has just enough rigidity, and I was using it as a sorting palette with loose buttons and then putting them all together. And as I group together all the like buttons, now mind you, this was in a random pile just like that, chaos. This has taken me days to do this. I have packaging tape in this heavy dispenser here, which is nice because you can pull against it. It's just real easy to tear from. And then as I get a pile of buttons all lined up, I just come on top with the sticky part down and stick that together. And I'm keeping them on these boards until I get all of the rest of the lights sorted, because I may have some that actually go with these sets, but I had to start somewhere and it's been a big help. So I only had 3 of these boards. So then I took the back of a drawer here just to have the rigid flat surface, and I am going into the darker neutrals next to put the tape on. It's a big job, gosh, and I'm like, why am I doing this for some darn buttons? But you know, when you create, I do garments, I do children's clothing in particular. That's how I got into quilting, because I had so much designer quilting fabric from doing girl children's clothing, which had the cute buttons. In fact, I had a big stash of Matilda Jane. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a thing. And each tag with any Matilda Jane outfit came with spare buttons. So I have them still on the ribbons here. And this is only half of what I have in buttons. Like, I have so much more in another container somewhere. I'm not going to take these off the ribbons. I'm just going to leave that. But just to give you an idea, like, this looks like vintage buttons, but they're new. And when you're doing a child's garment, you might only need one, like on the front bodice over a piece of ribbon as an accent. So it's more decorative than functional. So yeah, here's my tote here of big, let's call them novelty. We got some novelty here, just so many different subcategories. I have a whole section with just mother of pearl or the shell types. More novelty here. Oh, okay, here's my container. So once I have them all taped together, I double back the packaging with, oh, and this is, okay, this is all the ones that have a brand on it. So this is Calvin Klein. And I do sell on eBay, so I may list some of these. I'm not sure. We'll see. First step is just getting them organized and in some kind of order, so that when I do want to make a project, I can look and say, oh, look at this. This is all my, you know, warm yellows, and tans, and corals. Well, I have 5 buttons here that are about, you know, 5/8 of an inch. I can do a project if I need 5 functional buttons, and I know, okay, I would start with buttons and then design the rest of the garment or bag or whatever I'm making from that. So this, I love this system, because rather than just having, like, here's a whole bag of probably 100 buttons that are all the same, but you know, I don't have to dump that out. This is nice to just look at and say, oh, I got 5 coral buttons. What can I make with that? So that's the way my brain works. And here's another one with branding. Here would be a set with mother of pearl, which I love. So I try to put the ones that are, you know, all the same in little groups, but then have it on the same piece of tape, so that, you know, maybe the size is not as important, because if you're making a garment from scratch, you can make your buttonholes, whatever. But let's say I have something, because I do thrift for eBay, maybe I have a missing button on something. It would be nice to just pull out, you know, a whole card like this at a glance, quickly look and say, oh yeah, look at that, it's the same thing right here. So I have done that before, actually, and been successful in replacing missing buttons. But yeah, this is fun. It's sort of like building a puzzle. I'm not into puzzles. I think that's a total waste of time. No offense if that's your thing, but I got too many real things to do than to build a puzzle and then tear it down or frame it. I don't know, it's just not my thing. But so this is all shanks, metallic shanks. So I'm gonna, this is from my old system. I'm probably going to take them off and tape them, because I'm also thinking, this gave me the idea with the blue cutting boards here. Maybe I can just take sheets. I have tons of cardboard. Maybe take sheets of cardboard and stick, once I have everything organized, like the double-sided samples here, and then I just take a piece of cardboard and then attach it to that and have, you know, like a book, like the pages of a book, all flat on cardboard. That would be so nice, and that would be easy to store, where I wouldn't be consuming, you know, valuable storage in a container, and I can just have a stack of cardboards. That might be a thought. We'll see. I'll figure it out, because I need, as big as this space is, I need to make the storage as efficient as possible, because I do have a lot of stuff. When you got a lot of stuff, you can make a lot of stuff, and it just frees up the creativity aspect of it immensely when you have, you know, all the thread, all the buttons, all the fabric. Your possibilities are endless. Okay, so that's enough for now. That's my little tour and tidbit and story of the day, is how to tackle a lifelong hoard of buttons, one bite at a time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.